And all right, we are back with another Artist Kind podcast. We're here with the once again the co-captain, the co-leader of the ship here, Double D, Dan's Donacio, and the one and only, the infamous, the lovely, the genius, Israel Isas. How you doing, sir?
Thank you for bringing me here. That's awesome.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, yeah. But we're excited to have you here.
Nice.
I was telling Dan's, man. I was like, man, I've known Izzy, like over 10 years now, dude.
Dude, yeah.
It's been over 10 years. I mean, I think about it. I'm like,
and how'd you guys meet again?
We went to school together.
Went to school
at the Art Institute here in Dallas.
Art Institute in Dallas.
And I think about it. I graduated 2007. I'm like, man, I'm way past the 10-year reunion. I didn't even think, like, this was wild, dude.
Yeah, man.
I don't even think of it, like, how much time has passed.
Yeah, I graduated in 2009, and yeah, it already passed.
And even that passed for you.
And I was like, did we do something? No? Okay, cool.
No, not for us. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They're like, congratulations, you have student loan debt.
Yeah, exactly. You got your student loan debt.
I'll celebrate that. How about that? You know what I mean? I'll celebrate when I'm done with those.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, but okay, so we wanted to have you on because we're always talking about different types, different media of art, you know, and movies is something that comes up a lot. You know, the movies we love, the movies that make us think.
Big movie buffs.
Obviously, you know what I mean? Movie trivia.
Yeah.
And so, you know, having gone to school with you, you know, that was kind of like one of the things that we really kind of focused on, even though like we learned more commercial, corporate type video, the concepts and the basics are pretty similar. You know, I think they said in school that like the only difference is the camera.
Yeah.
You know, but I think back then the difference was, like the difference was the camera, but also they were still using film back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were still learning on tape.
We were shooting on tape, like mini DV tape.
So, I mean, it's just ridiculous the amount of like change and evolution that they've had. You know what I mean?
Like it's a lot's changed in 10 years alone.
Just the 10 years
Just
alone.
10 years. Like I still, when I think back to how we used to shoot things on tape, like it was still analog. It was digital, but it was still analog.
Yeah.
And I miss that format. Like, I mean, it wasn't the best, but I miss it because it was still a physical medium that was still there. Mm-hmm. And the way you can edit something and then you can delete the footage, but you can still go back to the tape and relink everything to it because it was still there.
Right.
You can't do that now.
No, the idea of like re-logging your footage or logging your footage is kind of like a new thing. I mean, you log it in the sense that, okay, maybe I'm going to name this clip, you know, but it's not really the same as, okay, well, all right, here's my endpoint. I got to wait this whole 5 minutes. Like if the clip was 5 minutes long, you had to wait real time for that. It wasn't just instant. And so you had no way of actually like kind of building that time and like how long it was going to take. So when someone said like, all right, how long is it going to take? Well, I mean, how much footage did we shoot today? You know?
Yeah. God, I remember one of my first jobs right out of school, I was working for this education company and they did like a lot of seminars.
Ooh.
Like it will take me literally a full 8-hour day just to like capture all the tapes. Because they were just using a basic 3-camera setup, but these sessions went on for like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm like literally capturing, and everything was like real time.
Right. And if you weren't like on a switcher that was like capturing like, you know, live to tape.
Yeah.
You had to like, okay, now I gotta stack all these things, sync the audio, and now I can edit this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so. All right, now that we've already kind of talked about like how hard it was, how ugly like the experience must have been, what actually like would make you, what gave you the inspiration to even want to do that? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you probably didn't know everything that you were getting into at the time.
No, man. Like like when I started school, I knew nothing about video. And because the funny thing about me is that when I was growing up, I always thought myself going into either graphic design or animation, because I was in middle school and early high school. I was really pushing to be in animation because I was really into cartoons. I was really into anime, like, honestly. And that whole like narrative was like, man, this is great, this is amazing. And it wasn't until high school I was like starting like watch movies and just really watch movies. Mm-hmm. And like one of the big ones that I remember watching when I was young was like The Godfather.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because like those, like, for me it was always like the grown-up movie, the adult movie. So for me as a kid, I thought like, oh, what is so bad about it? Is there nudity in this? And, like, that's what I wanted to see. But no, I got this like really deep, like violent story.
It was like all violent.
Yeah, it was all violent, and I was like, it was very dark and very like sad, and it stuck with me. And then also when I was taking French classes, and every Friday we had a movie night, not movie night, movie day, and our teacher would just make us watch French movies. And I was probably the only one in class that got into it because he was showing us like French classic films. Like one of the first ones we saw was The Beauty and the Beast, the original black and white.
Oh.
And I remember being like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, it's very different from the Disney version.
Do you remember, I think it was called The Red Balloon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That was the one I remember, like, I was like, damn, okay, like, this is just the whole movie about that, you know? I mean, and having been a kid at the time, you know, I'm thinking, like, Ninja Turtles, you know, I'm thinking Never Ending Story. Yeah. It never occurred to me that, like... Yeah, that would be for real. Yeah, classic. And then, you know, it never occurred to me that like the narrative could just be about something completely inanimate.
Yeah.
and just kind of like still a journey.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and the Red Balloon, God, man, like it was made like in the 50s or 60s.
It had to have been the 60s. They didn't have color TV until then, yeah.
And it was like the effects in that movie is crazy because it's a balloon that's moving around, and you're like, man, this is way ahead of its time.
I know, right? So, having seen like The Godfather, you know, was like Francis Ford Coppola and like, you know, Scorsese, like dudes of those times, were they like kind of like an inspiration to you?
Not really. Like for me, it was like Godfather was like, it is a good movie. Then I got into Scarface. Like I was like hitting the whole like gangster films, but the movie that actually like made me want to become a filmmaker, it was a Mexican movie. It was called Amores Perros.
Oh,
that's a good one. And I saw that when in my, I want to say like in 10th grade, I was in high school. And I remember it was very controversial. I remember like people in Mexico like hated it, or I remember my family hating it. They were like, this movie's horrible, blah, blah, blah.
It was crazy.
And then I remember like asking my parents, hey, I want to see this movie. I want to see why it's so hated and why it's like, and this is before it wasn't even popular yet. It wasn't even recognized. And I remember watching that, and I remember we rented it for that weekend. I watched it every day because it really stuck with me, because I was like, I've never seen a movie that was, first of all, it was non-linear.
Yeah.
It was split up in parts, and it was shot in a way that like it made you feel like you were there. Like it was like the whole like documentary style. Yeah. And none of that existed at the time. It was all brand new.
I think maybe Pulp Fiction, something like that.
Yeah,
you know
Pulp
what I mean?
Fiction did it something, but it was like,
But this one was like at the intense, and definitely not in Spanish.
There was like a rawness to it.
Yeah, it was a rawness.
Raw, definitely.
And the rawness is what stuck with me.
Yeah.
And
good acting.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Good acting.
Good cast.
Yes. And like shortly after that, Y Tu Mamá También came out.
Yeah,
and that was another one that people hated. My family hated, and I also rented it. And I was like, "This movie's amazing," except for that weird ending. But yeah,
I mean,
it's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
It was, man. I mean, and that kind of brings me, I guess, like to almost my next topic is like the representation in film that, you know, I think is lacking. You know, and I think this is because I'm Chicano, and like I love seeing people that look like me, and stories that like, I mean, not that I don't identify with other stories, you know, but you know, stories that are culturally like, you know, with me, and that's what I think. You see a surge every now and then, every few years, like maybe every other decade. There's a director, there's an actor that you're like, okay. I mean, when I was young, I mean, what, like, yeah, you're right. Amores Perros y Tu Mama También. And then what was it? Zorro, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Desperado, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we had to like, okay, cool, like Mexicans are violent and they're deadly, you know what I mean? And that was cool because like I liked action film, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't a story.
Yeah, and also like, it wasn't a positive image.
It wasn't,
like Hispanics. Like that's one of my frustrations with the movie Traffic.
Oh
like, like everything's in a desert, everything's orange tinted, and everybody's poor. And I was like, God, guys, that's not Mexico.
Oh, man. That's kind of like the same thing, right? Like 4 different stories in one movie.
Yeah, Traffic.
And then Amores Perros too. Same thing, right? Like there's like 4 different stories being told.
Yeah.
And then I remember one was a Crash. I remember.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
I like that there was like at least a part where I think one of the officers is like, you know, half Puerto Rican, half like, you know, Salvadorian or something like that. And she had to explain to the guy, and none of those are in fucking Mexico. Because, you know, he's like, he's like, I tell my mom I was banging a Mexican, but it wouldn't make her mad. And then she, you know, I was just like, oh, okay, you know, like, I mean, here we are trying to get a message across, you know, but it's kind of missing.
It's kind of missing the mark.
So, like, do you have, all right, like, as far as like Latinos and in film, like, I mean, Gael Garcia, Diego Luna, like Alfonso Cuarón, like, do you have like, does one stand out to you?
Like for me, Alfonso Cuarón, Iñárritu, and Guillermo del Toro all stand out to me. And those guys, man, it's crazy how they all 3 came out at the exact same time. They all 3 blew up at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So that was like a huge impact on me growing up, because for me, I was like, oh, I can make it too as a Hispanic. And that was a big deal because before them, all we had was Robert Rodriguez.
Right.
Which also is awesome because he's also like he's from San Antonio, he's from Texas. And his movies are not like deep or anything, but they're fun. They're fun, exciting, and they're entertaining movies. But it was like those 3 filmmakers that actually like make something serious and then actually like impacted the world, which is awesome. And as far as like representation, I do also feel that it's like there's not enough of it. Like I feel like we're still telling like the average American story, but with different skin.
Yeah, little George Lopez style. You know?
George Lopez, which is it was a good sitcom.
I love it. I loved it.
But it was George like Lopez. This is just a regular white family. But
it's acceptable. Yeah,
it's acceptable. So it's like I feel like there's still a lot of that. I mean, there's still a show right now that I need to see. It's called Gentrified.
Hentified.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, me too.
I actually got to talk to the director of that.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and that dude was he's really awesome. And he talks about how he did it and how he got pulled into making a Netflix show. And it's crazy. Like for him, he just made a short film and people were interested. Like, hey, like you want to do something? And I was like, oh yeah. And then he started like getting involved with America, and with America, like I want to do the show, and then he got into that, and his deal was like, yeah, there's not enough representation, so he started like writing for that, and one of the things he's like, yeah, I get offers to do work with, hey, you want to direct white people, and I'm like, yeah, I can do it, I don't want to, but. Yeah, I mean, it's money. So.
No kidding, right? No one's gonna turn down that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel that's because a lot of that. I mean, it's like it's money. They get paid
for real. I mean, I think when for years there was complaints, not complaints or really, but you know, in Star Wars, they were saying, okay, there's hardly any women in here. There's almost no Latinos, and then like, you know, the new one comes out, and then okay, you know, like we had that the Rogue One.
Yeah, we got Rogue One.
And we, you know what I'm saying? We get Rogue One, and it's like a females, and we got, you know what I mean? I was like, dude, I was like smiling from ear to ear, you know, because not only is it Diego Luna that I love as an actor, but he was a badass.
Yeah, he was a badass.
He was, you know, like just cold and just and not like cold as in a bad way, but like in a, you know, necessity was of his occupation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was like, all right, you know, we have at least, you know, we're gaining some traction, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I mean, as a population that's like, you know, over a third of the country.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see more.
What's
you know
Benicio?
Benicio del Toro? Yeah. I'm not sure where he's from.
He's Latin too, no?
Yeah.
Well, shout out to him
for sure. He played he's played, I mean, and yeah, this guy that carried like, you know, the whole culture on his back for a while is him, Antonio Banderas, Benjamin Bratt.
Well, he was in Star Wars too. I know people don't really like that film as much though, but
yeah, he was in it.
Oh yeah, he was in it. Yeah. That whole part, honestly, that movie, I think it could have just been taken out. Like that whole scene where they were like the key maker or the lock breaker or whatever.
I agree. I mean, that's like the whole
more roles though. It's okay. More roles for his family.
More roles. Yeah, I love him as an actor. You know.
Yeah, and also Oscar Isaac. Also, isn't he?
Oscar?
Yes. I'm excited for that Moon Knight.
Yeah. The Moon Knight.
The Moon Knight.
Man, that shit looks cool, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like actor. It. And when I was watching the trailer, and he's got this British accent, right? And
yeah, he has a British accent.
He's got a British or European accent, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like after reading the character of Moon Knight, you know, he has like 3 main personalities or something like that. One of them is Mark Spector, the mercenary, military, you know, butch fighter type.
Yeah.
Then he's got Jake Lockley, which is some kind of cab driver, underground, quiet, recluse type. And I think he's got like Steven something or other, which is a rich type of aristocrat. I don't know how you would describe him. So I wonder if that's going to play into his kind of mental character, you know, like is his voice going to change? Is his accent going to change based on who he is at the time?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to sound different when he's Moon Knight? Hey, vato, you fucked up, bro. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe not like all like, maybe not like all like.
I would like to see Oscar Isaac do that.
Something like that, you know. Maybe not like as what do you call him? As like hardcore like that, but some kind of shift that would be cool.
Oh man!
But with these Marvel movies that are coming out, not Marvel, well, Marvel movies, Marvel TV shows, like, and Disney shows like. The Mandalorian. Now they're starting to use more virtual sets, like LEDs, LED wall panels, to where, you know, you don't even, maybe you could just be on a sound stage with this LED thing, put some sand on the ground, and boom, you're in the desert. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts on that coming from already? I mean, the peak of analog technology to now, like, hey, I probably could just do this whole thing in my house, you know?
Yeah, I'm all for it because I hate green screen. Like green screen, like what people don't get, like it's if you don't have the space for it or like a lot of lights for it, it can look janky.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that when people are doing Hollywood green screen, they're like in a giant, massive like warehouse,
a stage, with tons of light. And because you're trying to get shadows react a different way, you're trying to replicate daylight or what nighttime, and then also you have to like focus on being the green, like, and make sure there's no spill on them. Spill, I think, is like one of the most noticeable things that you can say in a bad green screen.
Yes.
And with the LED, you're actually getting real reflections and real light. You know what I mean?
Real reflections. And I'm all for it. I mean, I'm like with the whole current age with like Unreal Engine where you can actually like have the set
Yes.
visually there, and then the actors can interact with it. Like, oh, this is what it looks like. This helps the actor more to get into the environment, into the zone. That's why when I saw Mandalorian, I was like, I am fucking sold.
Impressed.
Very impressed.
Thoroughly impressed
Yes.
with that, man. And that's a little. Homeboy's a Latino also, right? Under the. Yeah, I forget what his name is. I have to
Pedro
look it up.
Pascal. Yeah,
Pascal.
Robert
yeah.
Rodriguez. He's
Yeah.
directing a lot of those videos too.
A lot of the episodes?
Yeah,
Episodes,
he's been directing. He started directing like Boba Fett and
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving the brown.
They're living the brown.
Hell yeah. So, all right. With that, we have iconic characters, iconic movies. Boba Fett, you know what I mean? Moon Knight's coming out. We've got like a whole slew of Marvel movies. Like, what's an iconic movie that sticks out to you that you like? I think every generation probably needs to kind of like either watch this or should be, you know, maybe educated or aware of this, that this happened.
Dang. Okay, that's a hard one.
Because I mean, you bring up The Godfather. I think that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Which one? Like out of the three, the first one?
The
or
first one.
First one.
For sure, the first
Classic,
one.
huh?
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I only really remember part 3.
the part 3 is not that
I know,
memorable.
and I only remember the part where the guy takes off his glasses and kills the dude. He like breaks the glasses. I'm like, well, this is the most unrealistic that I've ever seen.
The one that stands out the most for me is the second one.
The second one
There's
is
a lot of
good.
iconic little moments in there. You know what I mean?
The second
First one
is
too,
good.
yeah.
I think we should go round table right here. Say iconic movies that you know. Okay, whether sci-fi, action, blah 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 blah. Iconic movies that I've watched recently that I like are like Stand By Me.
I just saw that recently too. Yes,
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
You know what I mean? A group of kids.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a good
unplugged from, you know, the internet, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Go on a little adventures with nothing but themselves, nothing but their wits,
Yeah.
and make it back home.
Yeah.
You know, they deep into each one of their like little characters. You know, the one kid got abused by his dad, ear burned off. You know, the other kid beats up by his brother. The one kid, you know, his brother died. The other one, you know,
gets picked on because he's
exactly.
fat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good book too. It's a Stephen King book. The Body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like. Oh, go ahead.
I actually want to read that because like it's funny because I saw that recently, and the last time I saw Stand By Me, I was a kid with my, and for me as a kid, I was like, this is not a children's movie. And then I watch it now that adult, I'm like, damn, this is really good. Like, this is what real kids are.
Yeah, for real.
You need more movies like that.
Yeah.
It just makes you like feel uncomfortable because that movie did make you feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
as a kid. Even now watching it too, you know what I mean? There's moments of it like you don't have movies like that nowadays. Much movies like that.
I mean, there's some things that you probably in that movie you probably couldn't even say.
They play it safe mostly nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, what do you call it? Like
Just them, 'cause
politically correct. You know what I mean?
What we're living in. Yeah.
It's more in line with like the values of today.
Yeah,
But back then they didn't care if they called some kid lard ass
Yeah,
for like
exactly.
30 times in a row. You know what I mean? Like it was just oh yeah, that's what they call them.
Yeah.
That's
that's
a
what they
good
call
movie,
it.
man. That's a
Yeah.
real good movie. Stand
All
By
right.
Me.
Dan, it's on you.
Like a film that I seen recently, or just like I think that's very iconic.
This is like iconic film.
Dude, I don't know about like a movie right now, but I think what the MCU is doing, they're just like a whole chain of movies. You know what I mean? Like name something else that's been done like that, like a whole universe. That's in cinema, bro. Like for reals, that's all connected.
Conan.
You know what I mean?
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I love all those movies, bro. They're like amazing.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, they're gonna stand the test of time for real.
I think so, dude. Because
Yeah.
I'll be lining my kids up and like, hey man, we're gonna watch all these damn movies.
Yeah.
It's 20 something movies and,
Yeah.
and counting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a lot.
Oh my God,
and now they're
yeah.
getting into TV, television stuff like these
Yeah.
series too. It's exciting, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be the Marvel like streaming network. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But man, it's like that's a hard one for like anything iconic recently that I've seen. Does that have to be like new stuff, or is it just like
Anything
you know,
from your past.
jeez.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like it's funny because I can go into like the more like like heavy, dramatic, and
Obscure, however,
obscure.
bro.
You know what? Fuck it. This movie really stuck with me. It's an Italian movie. It's called Cinema Paradiso, and I highly recommend everybody to watch that movie. It's an Italian movie, and I remember watching that like around, I think, my first year of college, because like one of my friends recommended it to me, and that's one of the only movies I've seen where the original cut is still really good, and then the director's cut, which is extended, is also really good.
Wow.
And that movie is like, it gets to you, it gets into your emotions, and it's a good movie.
Thought provoking.
Yeah, it's very thought, because like the whole movie is about this little boy that like he's like helping out this old projectionist, and he lives in this small town, and there's only one movie theater, and this kid is like, he was just in love with movies, so he would just like go hang out and just watch them, and then like, and this time it was like the whole town was ruled by the Catholic Church, so they had to like censor the movie, so there was no kissing, there was no. So this movie takes place like in the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. So it's funny because like the Catholic priest would like go in, watch the movie first, and then there was a kissing scene. He'll be like ringing a bell to cut it, and then
His
like,
eyes are all bloodshot.
like, no, we gotta cut this, and the whole movie is just about this kid's relationship with the projectionist. And then he grows up, like his like shows him like as a child, and he goes into his like teenage years, he goes into his first love, and then he goes into like gets a little bit older, then like stuff happens. I don't want to spoil anything because it's really good, and it gets to the point where he's an adult, and it's one of those movies where the movie just builds, and it just keeps getting good and getting good, and the final punchline, the very end, right before the credits, it just like, you just get punched in the face, and you're just like, wow, that's good. That is a good setup. Wow.
Damn, yeah. Talk about movies that punch you right in the face, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I remember some like Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one that like punched me right in my nuts, dude. Really, to be honest, it's like like one time was enough for me.
Yeah.
Like I watched it and I was like, oh, okay, I made
Kids.
it. I made it through
Oh, like
Kids.
Kids,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
The first Euphoria kid.
Season 1 of Euphoria. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of Euphoria, then we were talking about streaming platforms and the streaming wars.
Oh my god.
And everybody has like their own like every network
Yeah.
seems to have their own platform now.
Yes.
Which before, I mean, you could get cable, you watch it on
Yeah.
TV, and you just sit and wait, and new shows come out, And now it seems like, all right, if you really want to watch what's going on, a Paramount Plus, Disney Plus,
Oh my God,
Hulu, and HBO Max, and
Yes.
so of all those, what do you like? What's your go-to? Like, or do you even stream? Do you?
I do stream, but I don't have a favorite. At least not anymore. Before it was Netflix, because back when Netflix started, right after the DVD things, like they started their streaming.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was like, oh, this is great, but because they were the only ones.
They were the
doing
first one.
it.
They
Yeah,
were the first,
I remember getting it in the mail too.
Yo, yes, dude, that was the best, man.
Yes. Yeah,
I remember
my
I would have like one DVD for like 3 months. I was like, oh man, I forgot to put this back in the mail.
Oh my god, yes. But yeah, and that's the thing, because right now I feel we are in an oversaturated world of content, which I can go into, like social media and all that stuff. But when it comes to like movies, like with streaming networks, I mean, it's kind of like, for me, it makes me sad because there's so much content, but at the same time, it's no longer like, it's awesome, oh, it's kind of good, oh, it's bad. Now it's just like, it's good or it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs up or
like
thumbs down. Yeah, and it's sad because it's like everybody's doing the same thing. They're just making stuff to just make it, and it's going into movies as well. There's just movies that just exist to just exist. One of my friends saw like the new Halloween movie, and the way he described it to me, this movie just felt like a filler movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, I felt the same way. No way, I kind of did, but I understand they're trying to, bring on a younger generation to start watching those films, to continue watching those films. You know what I mean? So I understand like there's gonna be a lot of fillers along the way now. You know what I mean?
I wonder sometimes too that if these studios, in order to hold the rights onto their characters or something like that, they have to produce these films. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you're right about that.
I remember like the Fantastic Four was kind of like that too.
Same thing.
Where like, they are, in order to keep the license to these characters and stories, that they, all right, well, we're gonna make Doctor Doom some kind of a tech guy with electric powers or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're gonna make the Human Torch a black dude. What? Hold up.
Like, wait, no, Johnny Storm.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. I remember him not being that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's just like filler. You know what I mean? Not to say that like it was a terrible movie, because I know a lot of studios get involved with the directors and how they think that movie should be. I mean, we just saw that with Justice League.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I watched both. I watched the fucking 4-hour version, and I was like, it really could have just been 2 hours. I think both of these things could have been under 2 hours.
I feel like a lot of movies now could be less than 2 hours.
Exactly, man. But I think they need to kind of how do you call it, like validate their big ass budgets and shit.
Exactly.
And always because it's 3 hours. That's why we spent $130 million on this thing.
Dude, yeah, for real. It's like, oh no, it has to be.
Well, what's missing nowadays? Like, what do we need more of?
Good stories.
Yeah, good original stories.
Good original stories.
Huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's something that
Everything's a reboot nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like that's one of the I tell people, nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
and
it's coming back. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff, like, especially what we're just talking about right now, Marvel movies and stuff, comic book movies. We have like our grandparents that were like reading that stuff when they were younger. You know what I mean? Now they can watch it with their grandchildren. So it's like, it's pretty cool, man.
I think,
a lot of that stuff's coming back. Yeah, this is the time for it, I guess. Yeah.
This is, and because there is a market for it. People need content.
Yeah.
People want it.
Everything's a remix.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's a remix.
Everything, yeah. And so some of like the more original films kind of get pushed into like obscurity.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of one right now, but it's because they aren't as well received, because where's the laser eyes? You know what I mean? Where's the tights and the chicks with the nice hips? You know what I mean? Like, like, oh well, it's about the guy, and it's like,
That's what I'm saying.
he lives with bears, or he lives in the woods. Like, what? Like,
that's what I'm saying, because it's a lot of movies are playing it safe nowadays, and
and honestly, I mean, like, as an aspiring filmmaker, you know what I mean? If someone gave me the option of being, or, was like, all right, well, here's a fat check for, making a reboot of, The Shadow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, sir, I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's funny because
Make the guy a Latino, we're good.
And it works. Look at Peacemaker. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. There's people that want that kind of content. You know what I mean? Look at Deadpool, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Deadpool, I think, changed the game too, for things like maybe not like Guardians of the Galaxy, but like Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And I think that was like that was like one of like my main gripes about the Suicide Squad, is that I felt like it had already been done already, in a bunch of other films.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I wanted it to be a little different. I wanted it to be like maybe just more serious, but
yeah, that's why. Because I hated the first Suicide Squad. Like, I was like, a lot of it was it felt forced. Everything felt so forced. We had to show the Joker. We had to show that you're crazy. We have to we have to show Harley Quinn because she looks like just like that. And that was my big thing with Suicide Squad because it just felt like, oh, this is just a Harley Quinn movie. Mm-hmm. And the second one, I felt the same. Like, I actually liked the second one, but that felt like, for me, I was like, you know what? Harley Quinn really doesn't do anything in this movie. She's just there.
Yeah. I mean, that scene with her when she breaks out of the thing, that was cool. But then the following scene after that, they're like, oh, well, we were gonna come get you. Oh, I can go get captured again. What the? That's like that. I don't need that part. Like, just cut that shit out.
Yeah.
And then the whole like 20-minute opening setup prank, whatever you want to call it. I don't need that shit either. Just have these fuckers show up on the beach and get blasted. All right, bam, done.
I mean, that was it's not the same way. It's like, damn, just throw them in there. Just throw them in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's one of the things I felt like I tell people is like, man, I miss like the rawness of 80s movies. Like like RoboCop, like Terminator.
Absolutely, dude. Predator, Aliens. And, you know, I know we were talking about like LEDs and green screen, and those ones had practical effects, miniatures, costumes.
Yes.
Squibs, you know, locations.
Yes.
And like you could feel the tangibility of that, you know what I mean? And that's what I loved about it.
Yeah, and it was funny because I just watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original one,
I
recently.
love it. I love that one.
Love it. It's amazing. And I'm like, I watched it, I put it on as like a background movie, but I ended up watching the whole thing. And the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, man, you can feel it. You can actually feel that you're in the sewer. You can feel like you can feel the characters. Mm-hmm. Like you can actually smell the
rat,
rat and stuff like that. Like, man, that's like, it's besides that it's beautifully shot, and
the shredder,
the shredder is like intimidating.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, we need to like go back to that. We don't need fucking CG characters.
Yeah,
you don't need. We need the shredder. Like, even though how minimal he was, it was just a dude in a purple suit and the crazy helmet, but he was scary looking. He was intimidating.
And you're right, the writing too. As long as you have a good story, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's where, that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
Yeah, I mean, just simple characters, simple plot.
Yeah.
And, you know, get from A to B to C, and then to the
going
end.
From A to B and C. That's it.
And that's why there's a lot of fillers too nowadays. Like, people just think way ahead. Like, oh, we gotta set it up.
Yeah.
And that's like a problem too, man. Instead of just focusing on just making one good movie, and you could probably set it up.
Yeah.
It's just so much of a setup.
Yeah, true. They'll have like a whole movie just to set up for the next one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. World building, which I'm okay with, but do it gracefully, with justice. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I'm like, I want to bear my frustration, like going to that. So one of the movies that really pissed me off, like recently, because it was just build up, was Space Jam 2.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that one.
You know,
I skipped it.
Good, you should skip.
Oh, the Toon Squad in the house.
The Toon Squad, nice. I didn't see that. But dude, man, my frustration. But I was excited for Space Jam 2 because it was like, you know what, Space Jam 1 has a deep like place in my heart. It's like it's
I'm
there.
all about that too.
And it's like it's a fun movie. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
Like fucking beat the Monstars because you don't want to be slaves for them. Good, got it, done. This fucking movie. Oh my god! It was like, besides it was LeBron James. It was for me it was like a salad bowl of Warner Brothers like reel. This is like the greatest hits of Warner Brothers.
Talking about reboots, huh?
Oh my god, yes. And it was like this crazy universe setup within the internet, and then like the whole like complications with the LeBron and his son, and then like the whole thing with the studio. It was just constantly building, and you're like, so why are the Looney Tunes doing again? So,
they're gonna play basketball at some point.
Yeah, and then the game starts, and it was just nonstop distraction. Because I don't know if you've seen the trailer. They show a bunch of all the Warner Brother properties, like all the characters. You see it. You see like the mask and all that stuff.
Oh, nice.
And it was just like, it was almost nauseating because it was just like all you're doing is like, who's that character? Who's that? You're completely distracted.
And so that compared to like a movie like Ready Player One, where it kind of was like almost the same thing.
Yeah.
But only like none of them were like essential characters to the story. They were just in the background, you know?
Yeah.
A way of still doing that and showing all these properties and characters and things like that. But, you know, they're not in the forefront. It's just this kid, okay, this poor kid, you know, I'm searching for like a way to win this this game, this virtual world, you know what I mean? I want to take ownership of this shit. And that's how I live my life, you know? Like, I thought that was like, I like to go rewatch that movie because it's so epic, dude. You know, you got like the DeLorean, you got King Kong, you know what I'm saying? You got the Iron Giant, you got a Gundam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, man, like all these smashed into one movie, yet none of that was actually distracting from the story.
Yeah, I mean, Steven Spielberg was the one directing. That was the big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't give Steven Spielberg was enough credit, but that dude really knows movies.
Exactly. I mean, shit.
It's funny about Ready Player One. I'm not a big fan of the movie because I actually read the book. Okay. And I fucking love the book. Like, and it's very different from the movie.
Oh.
Which is very, like, I get it because, like, a lot of stuff that happens in the book, you're like, yeah, I don't know how you can do that.
Certain characters they couldn't use either for film, right?
Yeah, the characters changed. Like, the whole, like, infiltrating, like, I forgot what the name of the IOI was. Yeah, it was completely different. Like, in the book, it's very in-depth, like, how, like they do that, and then like the whole world, how the game worked is actually explained more thoroughly in the book. And but at the end of the day, the book is no like greatest novel ever. It's a fun read. It's a fun read. It's fun when you actually get the references. And the movie, like, it just felt very rushed. Like, it was like this stuff is happening. Like, the games are different. King Kong is not in the book, actually.
Yeah. It's pretty cool though. Yeah.
It was cool, and the final battle was actually pretty close. I mean, the whole crazy battle at the end was pretty close. Like the Gundam, there was way more like crazy robots in the book.
I bet I can imagine.
But I actually liked that fight. I was like, okay, this works. I liked it. I'm fine. I'm okay with this. But yeah, like a lot more characters die in the book. Like a lot more intense moments happen in the book. And it was like completely lost in the movie. Like for me, the movie was like man, you're moving stuff around, you're shifting this. Like I forgot the girl's name, I forgot her character's name, but like you never see her until the very end in the book. Like you never actually see her. So and the way they did it, they made her like into a revolutionary and all that stuff. She's not that in the book.
Yeah, like that whole like resistance thing. Yeah, like I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm with that, but
there's no resistance in the book.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, okay, like why would there be one? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, it was like
just against a corporation. Like
yeah, it was for me. I was like, oh, this is weird. I was like, okay, whatever.
Well, sorry. Go ahead.
What's your thoughts about maybe movies being seen that way in the future?
Virtually?
Like no one's gonna be leaving their homes to go to a theater. They're just virtually, like at their home. They can be inside like a virtual world, like a theater or something like that, and watch a screening or something like that of a film.
I mean, you can do that now already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, what your thoughts on that?
Well,
that's a good one.
I do like the experience that you get from obviously the surround sound and some of these seats that I mean I haven't sat in the D-box seats where like it shakes your ass or something like that, but or it massages your feet. I'm not exactly sure what the whole deal is with that, but I do like the experience of the huge screen, the surround sound, because I'm not gonna get that from my smart TV. I don't care how loud my speakers get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How other people, they do have home theaters, you know, and they would probably, you know, prefer to do that. It's probably more sanitary. I mean, who knows?
Especially the way we're like.
There's not gonna be people fucking getting boned in the back row. You know what I mean? That you have to. There's not gonna be kids crying and stuff.
How the world is right now. You saw a comeback of drive-in theaters. You know what I mean? Or reopening for certain things, concerts and stuff. What have you? Dude, I did love drive-in theaters growing up. I wish they would bring more of those back.
I like going to them now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that is one thing that I never got to experience. But it's funny, I've been to a drive-in theater, but I did it for like a video shoot. I never actually got to enjoy the movie.
Oh man.
But I want to do that because that is like an experience that you see it in other movies. You're like, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, dude.
Yeah.
I like it.
But like, but going back to like the whole movie theater experience, like there's like a handful of movies that I remember watching in theaters that I'm like, I'm glad I saw that in theaters. One of them is Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
dude.
I went in with very low expectations because I was like, dude, it's fucking Mad Max. And it's like, it's been forever. It's probably going to suck.
Dude, it was
Fuck,
awesome.
I was blown away.
That was a
Really
badass
good
movie, dude.
Really good movie.
That was one of those movies where I didn't care that it was that long.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind it. I was like, this is fine. And this is like, man, this is like action. This is what action movies should be.
Let me ask you a question. What should
Flaming guitars.
That's awesome. But would you rather see that like as a movie or something like that on a series? Like you know what would you rather see movies nowadays or like
Well-
what would you want to see, a TV show, like a series or a movie? Sorry.
I do like the idea that a continued story, but there's some that that I think are good after an hour. Like there's not much story to tell here.
Yes.
I think The Matrix was only supposed to be one movie anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From what I heard. And then they just kind of like, he comes back.
Yeah, that's why it's like Matrix 2 and 3 are very awkward. Yeah, it's like Matrix 1. If you just watch Matrix 1, it is a masterpiece.
You get it.
You
Yeah.
get it. It's
Boom.
amazing. Boom. And I was happy for forever. That was the only movie. But like, I feel that movies, if you just make one movie, just make a solid single one-off movie, and that's all you need.
Exactly.
Like if you're gonna make it like a continuation movie, the perfect example is fucking Back to the Future.
Yes.
Shit, for real.
Like Back to the Future nailed it.
Yeah.
And man, it's like
Awesome. They got the time wrong. It's already like 2022. There's no flying cars.
there's no flying cars.
They came back in 2016 or 20.
It was like 2015.
2014, 2015.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like for me, it's like right now we live in an age where just like, oh, we need a part 2, we need a part 3, we need to make a prequel, we need to make a just extended, like
Right.
and for me that frustrates me because I'm like, oh my god, get it over with.
I know when after like, and this is a sequel movie, but I think it wrapped up the storytelling or was Terminator 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was okay. We blew up the facility. We got the chip.
Yeah.
We tossed it in the heat,
Yeah.
and now we're gonna lower the Terminator down. And he even gives the thumb up on the way down. And all right, boom, I was done. I was ready for it. And now we've got like 3-4 more Terminators out.
I haven't watched the last two. Like the last one I saw was Christian Bale, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on now.
What year did that take place to? I wonder if they got that wrong.
What Terminator? They
Like, I
said
don't
that
think it was
1997 that 1997 the Skynet was supposed to attack and all that.
Well, we kind of got something like that out there, probably. Some kind of
Yeah.
like surveillance or whatever. Artificial intelligence.
Some AI, some killer AI.
Drones and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man,
We're close.
yes, dude.
That's the next step. Terminators. We're gonna be seeing them on the streets and shit.
So next steps. What do you think? What do you think the future has in store for you, or what do you want out of life, or what do you think do you have any kind of like short term, long term goals, or?
Oh man, that's hard because technology keeps changing, it keeps evolving. Even the way how platforms change too.
Yep.
Like I tell people that I feel that it's not really hard to get a movie made or get it picked up because like there's multiple platforms now that need content. And the problem with they needing content is that you're not getting the budgets. You're just like getting through it. Because that's one thing the guy said about Hentified. Like, yeah, we're doing it, but we were like guerrilla style making it. Like we had to like rush to make it. It was like, and I'm like, man, that's rough because like I feel that in my current state would work because I feel like the budgets keep getting smaller and smaller, and you have to like rely on what you know, what you can pull off. Like cameras are getting cheaper and cheaper. Like my current camera that I bought like a few years back, I was like holy crap, man, this is the look that I wanted when I was like in college.
Right.
Like I can finally afford something, but it was like.
But you have like some Blackmagic or something?
Yeah, I have a Blackmagic 6K, and I was like, that blew my mind when I had it, and I looked at the image. I was like, this looks like a fucking Harry.
Right.
And
yeah.
It's like, but it's funny is because like we're now in a world where like everybody's shooting cinema style. Everybody has the same look. Everybody has the same aesthetic. And that was my frustration is like, guys, there's more than just doing handheld.
Yeah.
And natural lighting.
Man, for real.
But as far as goals, I mean, for me, it's like I don't know. I always like being creative. I still have the dream to become a filmmaker, and for me, it's like I always make like short things just to like get that out of there, because for me, like a film is not just like a 5-minute thing or an hour thing. Like for me, it's like whatever you make.
It's a story, yeah.
It's a story
from beginning to end.
Beginning to end. It could be like 30 seconds long. It could be a minute. And for me, like the whole short form media, it's like I got to that because it's funny because that in school, that's what they told us. This is before fucking social media existed. Yeah. They were right, which is crazy. They were like, this is the future of
short form media.
This is like what we're gonna do, and we were like, whatever. And now it's like, nah, you're right. I mean, I'll never forget in my portfolio, fucking, the guy was like, you need to like stop getting out of the head. You need to get TV and theaters out of your head. You need to think about making content for this. And this is like right when the iPhone just came out. Mm-hmm. Like we weren't even thinking about making stuff for.
There was barely even YouTube.
It was barely YouTube, and people at the time were making fun of YouTube. They were saying like, "Oh, that's bullshit. It's not gonna take off." Look at it now.
I was watching some movie with I forget who with. Oh no, it was Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. It's like The Proposal or something. And in it, she's like, "What's that little website you keep talking about?" He's like, "YouTube." And I was like, "Damn, what is this, 2006, 7 or something, dude? Damn."
Oh my god, yeah.
And like, you wouldn't be saying that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so like it's in the forefront of everything. You know, people that's a streaming platform for some people.
Yeah.
You know, that's their favorite streaming platform is YouTube.
You know what? You asked me. I let me go back. Sorry to interrupt you, but YouTube is my favorite.
There you go. All right, here we go.
You got me. Yes, YouTube is my YouTube. Like during 2020, like quarantine, I watched YouTube the most instead of Netflix, Hulu, and whatever. And it was just because I was in this weird mode of I just want to watch. Like I went onto this weird deep dive of fucking rural Japan, just watching videos of rural Japan, slice of life stuff, and then I'm going into like crime scenes and going to the crime stories, going into like horror things, going into video game stuff, and like for me, I was like, man, I'm learning things.
It's a good way to research.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even as a resource, man. Like whether or not you're using it for entertainment, you could also use it for education.
Yeah.
And
visually, like, you can get like inspired or just see something like
inspiration.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, like I tell people, like they ask me, "Hey, should I go to film school?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, just go to YouTube."
I know. I tell. You know, I'm like. You know, because people will be like, well, how did you get into this? And would you recommend people, you know, I'm like, if things were online the way they are now, back when I was going to school, I probably would just have got like maybe like, you know, a quick associate's degree from college and just try to learn everything, you know. But the thing about like our education that I think was valuable was we had the hands-on training.
Yes.
We had lights, we had cameras, tripods, you know, how to set that up, you know, how do you set up a microphone? How do you set up multiple microphones, multiple cameras at the same time? And that's, and then not only that, but the basics of framing and composition, things that come towards the camera, things go away from the camera. The camera moves side to side, or the principle moves side to side. You know, and those are principles that are just lost. And because everybody, like you said, everything's handheld. Like, oh, let me turn this way. Let me go all the way around this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they don't really even have to do that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the practical effects, they utilize those methods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why they were successful. And now it's like, okay, if I don't have, you know, a GTX 3090 that I can match move and track this camera, then, you know, then I can add these special effects, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell people. It's like, when I was working at a mega church, we were like constantly spitting out videos, and we had to do like, it was a time we were doing creative openings for church like every few months, and we didn't have budgets, we didn't have crazy things, so my references were old movies. Because like, what can I do with a tripod?
Exactly. What can I just do with a tripod? Yeah. I just tilt up and down, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And then just like, and you start picking up like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, like, and that's like learning with, like, that's one of the biggest lessons, is learning like making do what you got. And Robert Rodriguez says that a lot, and that's like, that's one of the things I learned from him, was like use what you got. Don't worry about what you don't have, just use what you got. And it applies with like everything, like location. It applies like with cameras, what you have, and all stuff. And it's like, it's crazy. And the one thing with school that I'm really thankful for is strict deadlines.
True.
Like, school taught us strict deadlines.
Multiple deadlines.
And we were churning out projects like every week.
Every week, yeah, you had to.
Like, that's one of the things when I'm very thankful for AI. It's funny because like, I'm very appreciative for AI. Like, I tell people, like,
I know, we talk shit. It's okay.
We talk a lot of smack, but man, I have a career because of that.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things from it was like learning to adapt, like learning to like be flexible, because like that's one thing AI taught us. AI taught us to survive as video people. Yeah. Like, they taught us to edit. They taught us to shoot. They taught us to like learn audio. They taught us fucking DVD authoring.
DVD authoring, yeah. Web build a web. Yeah, you know.
And it's crazy because, and there's that mindset to always be open to learn, and because you're always gonna be that guy at every company, like, oh, he does all of this.
He does the video.
He does the video.
And then little do they know that it's like, okay, I do the video, the photography, the audio, the fucking 3D graphics, the motion graphics, the green screen, the compositing, you know, and that's like 5 people's jobs right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's nuts how it is now.
Yeah, and I think with the way the technology is going, you know, that it's becoming more like you said, the Blackmagic camera, the LED panels, you know what I mean? I think it's gonna make it more to where people like us are able to do stuff like that on a shoestring budget with maybe just a few friends, you know, and knock out quality content, you know. And I think everything goes in waves.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's a wave of you know, content and people getting popular and catching fire and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be one of us catching one of these waves at a certain time. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of these dudes, Alfonso Cuarón is like 60 years old. You know what I mean? He made Children of Men like, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago. Yeah.
Almost like 12 years ago. So he was already in his 50s at that time. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're in our kind of...
So you got another 40 years?
We got another 40 years to do. I mean, that's what I think. That's what like I would hope for, is that maybe at the end of this line, I get one solid production, full length feature film that, you know, somebody has in their library. You know what I mean? I think that was kind of like what I'm hoping for. My goal, my long term goal, dream thing.
Yeah, it's like one of my dreams was like, I hope to find whatever I do like at a half price book. Yeah. Like for me, it's like, yeah, it would be cool if it was like in a bigger like thing, but I was like, dude, nah, I'd be happy if it was like a half price book. So I can, like, it's like an obscurity, something. Some kid finds it, watches it, like, oh man, that was tight.
Cool. One last thing I want to ask you then is, okay, we've talked about our education, we talked about like the technology getting a little bit better. And there's going to be a kid, you know, that's going to be like, all right, I want to do this too. if you had to say like, all right, man, you want to probably start by getting one of these, and it's gonna be, you know, a camera, you know, with a tripod. We're just gonna put those together. A computer, like a fast computer, lights, you know, what would you say? Like, get this and focus on it. Get this, learn it.
I mean, if they want to get work fast, I would say get a laptop and start learning editing.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, that's the thing I tell people. Like, the reason I have a career and it's lasted for so long is because I got good at editing, and editing is the most stable like work you'll get. I mean, like, shooting is awesome, it's exciting, but it's very chaotic. Like, shoots get canceled, they moved, or you can't make this shoot, or you had to like say no to a shoot, or actors bail last second, or there's no budget for it, or you have to like, oh, we don't have what you need for that.
The weather sucks.
The weather sucks, that too. And like, editing, all you need is a fucking laptop.
That's true. That's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell people, like, and that's the thing, because like not many people know this or appreciate this, but editing helps you become a better director, a better storyteller, and a better shooter, because you're actually like, you're seeing the sequence and you start building a sequence in
I
your
can
head.
see that
In real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start seeing it. You start appreciating, like, this is the kind of emotion I need, or this is what kind of look I need, or this is what the pacing I need. Oh, the camera has to do this in order to like make it. And editing helps you out a lot. And that's one thing, like, one of the like top creatives that I follow, they started as motion designers and editors. And what's funny is, like, there's a director right now, he started his career as an editor, and I keep forgetting his name. The dude's from here. He just did The Green Knight.
Ooh.
Like, he started his career as an editor.
I've been wanting to see that one.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I heard some other people like talking smack on it, and I was like, how can they be? I don't know. It looks
Can't
so.
listen to those guys, man.
It
Those
looks so
people.
pretty. It looks so
I
pretty.
loved it. I watched it in theaters. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Do you got anything?
No, just
Okay.
no, that's about it. Yeah, just
All right. Izzy,
good talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there anything
good
you'd
talk.
like to plug? You got any? You got an Insta G? You got a YouTube? What's up?
I do have an Instagram. That's the one that I put the most effort, even though I haven't posted anything in months. It's called Take It Easy, and yeah, it's like, that's
Any
my
projects
Instagram.
or anything like you're working on, or
Man,
for us to look out for?
I'm trying to like get that going, because like, I thought I was gonna be creative in 2020 when the quarantine hit, and it was complete opposite for me. Like, for me, I went to this weird creative like depression. I couldn't make anything. I was forcing myself, but I couldn't come up with anything. Now that things are a little bit more open, a little bit more active, people are actually seeing, I actually have motivation to make things again.
That's cool.
And as far as my like projects I've been doing, like, hopefully I'll make a short film this year. Hopefully, I've been telling myself that for a long time. I would still like to make my little like short videos that I make on Instagram, just like whatever flashy thing I make.
Yeah.
I'm trying to teach myself Blender right now.
There we go. That's a way to get in there, man.
Oh yes.
Especially a free way to get in there.
Yeah.
That's right, man. I remember. Earlier, I think I sent you a picture of like the kings of free, and it was Blender, GIMP, Inkscape, and DaVinci. I was like, I better get started.
Yeah.
You know, I know Blender pretty well. DaVinci, I'm starting to like, you know, but like my Adobe, I've been with the Adobe workflow
Yeah.
since the beginning,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to transition when you rely on the dynamic link so much. Like, it's just faster. It's just more easier. If you like decide to go full on resolve editing, you have to go back to how we used to do things at school. Render each single
yeah.
animation out.
Well, they do have a motion graphics
They do,
compositor,
which I haven't tested out yet.
It's
so.
it's node based. I find it super confusing because everything is called different, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, so what do I connect it? Do I connect it to all of them? Do I connect it here? What's up? I don't know.
Yeah. And Resolve just itself coloring, I highly recommend learning that. It is solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do some crazy looks in there. And like, granted, what I do, like, I don't do like pretty elaborate. Like I tell people, like I know enough to be dangerous
There you
myself, because I had to do stuff at Mary Kay that I was like, I impressed myself that I figured it out.
Some stylized, yeah, man. And I've seen a lot of the motion graphics things that you've done, dude. Like dynamic, fast moving, impactful. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. You can see like the progression, especially you know, from when you started. You know, I mean, I think that it happens to all of us. You know, it happens without us even noticing, and then somebody else would be like, man, that was badass, dude.
Yeah. It was funny because like, when I was in school, I told myself I'm never gonna learn After Effects. I want to be like, I want to be a DP. I want to be a fucking director, and like my career has shifted so fucking far into motion design. That's what I'm known for now.
Yeah.
And it was mostly because I just like it was just for me because I wanted a certain look or a certain style. Like I will try to ask people out. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm too busy," or like, "Hey, can you do this?" Like, "Oh man, I can't." I'll just be like, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, no.
And
you go to YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I did. It was a bunch of fucking YouTube tutorials. And it was funny because when I was in school, I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn something when I finally working in the field. No, fucking bullshit. Everything's fucking YouTube. I work for a fucking top agency, and they're like fucking YouTube tutorials.
You're like, whoop, let's do this. Man, back when we started, what was it? Video Copilot. Video Copilot everything, man.
Dude, I still use Video Copilot.
Hell yeah, me too, dude. Like, me too.
Let's throw fucking some
like my
3D.
My foundation, bro. Yes. That's my foundation, man. No, man, well, we're glad that you able to come, dude.
Yeah, man.
We had a great conversation. Hope that maybe we can collab. Maybe we can have you back, dude.
Yeah, man. This is fun. This is awesome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Double D, take us out.
Hey, guys, if you enjoyed the video you just watched and you like artists speaking their minds, please like and subscribe.